my radiator, ripped the fan off, shorted out the wiring all the way through the dash, lit the car on fire, and my day was over. I mean, right then and there, my day was just completely over. Just got super lucky again. We were right there, right near the pits, and we were able to just coast the car down into the pits. And I honestly was getting out of the car and saying, let's go get the trailer. I mean, it's over. We're physical leader in the race right now, and it's over. There's nothing we can do. And during that time, Tom got back in front of us, and we pulled back out of the pits, trying to catch back up to Tom, and made it about a mile out of the pits, and the car overheated and drained all the coolant out of it again. Pulled back over, and we're like, it's over. It's time to give up. We had one more gallon of antifreeze in the car with us, one more can't stop leak, and we jumped back out. Poor Eric Miller went tearing by us. I was like, man, now the day's just falling apart.
After passing Lauren Healy struggling with his radiator being punctured, Miller approached the end of Clawhammer Trail holding the overall lead. His steering began to slow, and fearing the worst, he and his co-driver, Rob, pulled to the side of the canyon to inspect, only to find a failed steering orbital, something they would need to repair to go any further, which also meant a trip on foot to the pits.
We were turning down one of the last easy rock canyons when my greatest fears were realized. The steering kind of locked up on me real tight, and it let go, and immediately I knew it was a mechanical failure in a full hydraulic system, and that was probably the day. We went a little further down trail and got out and inspected it, and just had nothing. The tires wouldn't move.
Lauren would regain the lead, physically following Tom Ways. However, with talk of a time penalty based on an unintentional course cutting, Healy would potentially lead Ways on adjusted time. In the end, both drivers knew it would come down to the element of survival, and to Ways, that would immediately become apparent. With a possible penalty in his mind, Tom knew he would need to push hard to win, or at the very least, stay on the podium, despite his physical lead on Lauren. The push would eventually prove to be too much for Tom's equipment, as he flatted his front driver's side tire with 20 miles in the desert left before the checkered flag. Unwilling to give up, he pressed on, driving through open desert down to the bare wheel as his tire fragmented in the final push to make it to the finish.
Once the tire actually came off completely, it actually started getting faster, so that was kind of cool. So I think I got to 74 with the front missing, and then got up to Elvis, and it was kind of inconvenient because it's a left-hand fall-away trail, and ran through Elvis, came out the top of Elvis, and then ran over to the 247 side, and those long silty or sandy whoops on the backside there, it was like, 3-4 second count brownouts. Where you might as well just had a shovel and be shoveling dirt in the front of the car.
Lauren Healy, not far behind, having just repaired his radiator, was at full sprint, knowing it would come down to adjusted time to determine the winner of the race, with just a few miles of open desert separating him from Ways and the start-finish line.
The thing was in limp mode. The fans turned off, the circuit breaker popped, and I didn't realize it. And so the car was overheating and it went into limp mode. So I went from the sand dune to the finish line in 4 low first and maybe a little bit of second. My pit guys were like, I think he's coming in, but we don't see any dust. One of my pit guys goes on the radio, he's going so slow he's not making dust. So I got to King Hill, and the thing would barely run. It was running like 600 RPM, just creeping up the backside. So I get to the top, quick stick it, high range, try to run it down the hill, and the A-arm's just in the dirt. The rim is, I couldn't believe the method wheel held up to what I did to it. I mean, 24 miles without a tire was impressive. And so I came to the finish line on 3 tires, and then Dave comes walking over to the car, and he's like, you missed Highway 19 and 20. He said, yeah, I guess I did, yeah. And he goes, you missed Elvis. I said, yeah, did that too. And he goes, we're gonna have to have a talk about it. And I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. And he's like, oh, I'm really proud of you. I'm like, well, I screwed that up, but that was a fun day.
Tom Ways would cross the line in dramatic fashion behind a tidal wave of sand, having finished in physical first place ahead of the entire field, riding his rim nearly down to the brakes in the process. However, he would be forced to wait as his time penalty was confirmed. and Lauren closed in on the finish. Healy soared past the waving checkered flag just seconds in front of Nato teammate Derek West, who had also been docked a time penalty for course navigation error. As the dust settled, Lauren Healy would officially be crowned king, having bested the entire field and survived the war in the desert that is the King of the Hammers after 8 hours, 3 minutes, and 25 seconds. In the process, Lauren would join Shannon Campbell as the only other driver to win KOH twice.